Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and today I'm coming back to you guys with another Switch video. Now, today, I'm bringing you guys the Icy Ice Mango Berry Tactile from Keebz N Cables. This is a Huano Switch, so that's the manufacturer. We're going to have to really see what the Switch is like, and of course, hear it in the couple different boards that I have. And of course, if you want to hear this in other boards that I do own, come to the live stream on Fridays. It's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific time, where you can ask me to try it in a different board I have, and that way you can see if this Switch is for you. So let's get into this, but please make sure to like and subscribe. So introducing the Keebz N Cables Icy Ice Mango Berry. Now this is going to be the tactile switch from Keebz N Cables, which I believe will have a little bit of a thockier sound with the POC housing. The 22mm spring is going to be quite nice, but let's hear it. So one of the things I felt about the stock switch is I didn't lube them myself because of a lot of lube in there, and also that these switches kind of felt a bit scratchy, the ones that I received. Now, testing the travel distance, 18 to 14.6, trying it one more time, at 18 to 14.7, which really matches up with the travel distance that they mentioned of 3.3 millimeters. Now, the scratch that I saw wasn't the greatest feel in terms of these switches. It's almost like a mush. But we'll go a little bit later, one of the ways to fix it, that's actually on Keebz N Cables' website. So taking a look at the stem itself, and we're going to see what kind of lubing I'm talking about. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the stem lubing is actually quite heavy. It's very, very heavy, like the B-Sun switches actually. Now, it seems very, very thin though, so it's not like the Cryotox 205G0. I'm not exactly sure what they're using to lube it, but it looks like kind of like a mix of a 105 in there. But as you can see on both sides and like the front and the back, it's heavily done on the switch, which is the biggest reason why I didn't do a hand lube sound test and do it myself, because there's no need. It already has it all done, but it still has a little bit of that mush to it, which I think may be caused with too much of lube on the actual stem itself. Even in the bottom housing, you'll actually see it in the rails area, but there's no lube on the back leaf, which is kind of interesting. And one of the fixes that Keebz N Cables actually will mention is going to be putting some lube on the leaf, which we'll show you later. Now, the spring itself measures at 22 millimeters. It's a very nice spring. With the length that it has and the way that it presses with this switch, you actually get a really nice bounce back, which is quite quick and snappy, which is something that I do enjoy. I like a longer spring for myself. Personally, I think my favorite so far has been 24 millimeters. And as you can see here with the actual stem and the bump, you are going to be looking more of a P, like a large P bump, because it starts in the beginning. So showing you guys right here, it really starts off as a medium tactile bump at the beginning of the switch, so at the top. And then after you travel a little bit, right after the bump is over, you actually still have a little bit of travel left. So you'll really see that here. So I'm trying it out in the switches here. So you get a bit of a medium bump. And then after the bump is over, there's still some travel room. So interesting how this switches even with a low travel distance. The bump is actually kind of short when you think about it. Now in terms of the decibels. So obviously when I'm doing my sound test and I make these videos, you're going to get something that's a little bit louder just so you guys can hear it nicely, just to get a idea of what it sounds like. The decibel test is just to help you guys kind of get an idea of how loud these switches actually are in person. I would say these average around 64.5 decibels, which isn't that loud when you consider it, but it's not on the quiet side either. Now going into the stem wobble test, on the top end, you don't really get a ton of wobbling. The rattling on the top end is not bad. I would say it doesn't move too much. And one of the things I noticed is once you do press it all the way down, when I'm using these tweezers, you see there is some stem wobble. So obviously vertically you'll see it, horizontally you don't see it as much. But with the keycap on, once you press it down, you'll actually notice there is a decent amount of stem wobble. I do notice this in general with tactile switches, so this is something to keep in mind, but definitely this switch has some more wobble than you might want. Now going into the backlighting, one thing I will say that the camera doesn't really catch it well because of the color of the lighting, but the switch itself is decently bright. It actually isn't too bad compared to the B Sunrise, but the switch does affect the lighting, so you will get a red hue with white light with this switch, so just keep that in mind. Now in terms of the fix, so the scratch fix is actually available. Keebz N Cables has it on the website where it says to lube the back of the leaf on the bottom housing, and with 205G0 it should help with the scratchiness. But for me, I didn't go through with the whole thing. I actually noticed it a little bit later in terms of the actual fix that they were providing. But this is something that I would love for you guys to know, just in case you want to fix it when you do get these switches. Now you can compare this switch with like the B-Sun Tactile, and the B-Sun is going to be thockier in terms of the actual depth of the tone. It's going to be a little bit deeper compared to these Icey Ice Mangoes. Now one thing to note though is that the Icey Ice Mangoes I feel like have a little bit more of a slight mid-tone to it, like a lighter thock, even though the hertz actually is going to be measured kind of similar to the B-Sun. You just have to keep in mind that this is just an anchor point. Every switch is a little bit different because of how it pings in the switch and pings inside of the case, so keep in mind for yourselves with this switch. I will have the links in the description for you guys to go check it out for yourselves. Those out there that kind of like that scratch feel a little bit might actually enjoy these switches because it kind of replicates that slightly. That's just my honest opinion. I like scratch because I like that mixed two-way blacks, but not everybody will. So keep in mind this when you are looking at the Icey Ice Mango Berry Tactiles. So I'll have to catch you guys next time, but please go check out the other videos I got.